What's going on, everybody? My name is Michael Pittman.
I'm Amanda, and today we're going to be talking about the power of your story. So many people feel disqualified, or they feel like they can't save souls, or they can't impact people, or they can't change a nation because their story isn't perfect. They think because I was broken or because I made this mistake, the Lord can't use me. And that's a lie from the enemy. Wipe it from your mind. Send it back down to the pits of hell, because that's not true. The Lord loves using broken vessels because that brings more glory to Him. It takes away our ability to boast and say it's because of me, it's because of what I've done, it's because of my perfection. No, it brings more glory to the Lord for us to be able to say, it wasn't me. There's no way this could have been me. I have no glory in this. My story is not perfect. I don't know why the Lord chose me, but it's all to the glory of the Lord. And the Lord loves to use those stories. I'll use an example from my personal testimony. With me, I grew up in the church, and in high school and college, I kind of turned away from the faith, and I wasn't faithful. And I made a lot of mistakes, things that embarrassed me, things I wasn't proud of. For a long time, I was afraid to share my story because I felt like it wasn't perfect. But the truth is, when you're able to share your story, you bring more glory to God and you help more people that way.
Even when you look in the Bible, there are plenty of examples of people who had pretty terrible pasts, but the Lord still used. Think about Saul, who became Paul. I mean, he was literally killing Christians. Think about ISIS nowadays. Think about someone from ISIS being used mightily by the Lord. I mean, Paul was literally killing Christians. And even other people who loved the Lord but just made mistakes. Think about Peter. Peter literally denied Jesus, but later on he ended up writing books of the Bible. People are able to relate with the stories that are not perfect. Some people have great, wonderful, awesome testimonies, and those testimonies are admirable, they're inspiring, and they're awesome. But sometimes people just want to feel like, oh, I can relate to this person. This person could be my best friend because it seems like we've gone through the same thing. And overall, if that's your type of story, you'll be able to give God a lot of glory out of it.
And even if you've been that woman who is pure and you're still 28 years old and you haven't given up your virginity, the Lord can use your story too. I've heard so many women talk about, I've done the right thing, I've served the Lord for this many years of my life, and I haven't given in sexually, but still the Lord is using you. That's beautiful. Don't think that the only testimonies that can be used are the ones that are broken.
That's so true.
Even the ones that bring glory to the Lord because you were faithful, those are incredible, and people need to hear those too. That's the power of your story.
And even whenever that happens, realize that the power in your testimony is the fact that the Lord has been faithful to you and has been gracious to you and has graced you to make sure that you are able to save yourself in that particular situation. Because I used to think like, man, what type of story does someone have if they, haven't been a prostitute, smoked crack, and like done meth? You know what I mean? Like, because we think a lot of times that a testimony requires like, I was down deep in the dumps and then, God miraculously restored me. Now, I'm not saying that's not a testimony, but there are people in the Bible like Noah, like even Mary, the mother of Jesus, in which God said, you've been faithful, and because of your faithfulness, I'll allow you to inspire and impact nations.
Absolutely. A lot of times we'll have an expectation of what deliverance and what healing and what victory would look like in our lives, but oftentimes it's completely different than our expectations. For instance, with me, I always thought that my body image issues would be fixed once I was stick thin, but in actuality, I found more peace with my body image when I wasn't stick thin, and that's when the Lord helped me through. And just because your testimony and your recovery and the glory of what the Lord has done in your life doesn't look like what you expected, that doesn't mean it won't bring glory to God, and that doesn't mean that it's not powerful. Be bold in sharing your story. Be confident in sharing your story, because it's going to help somebody, and it still brings glory to the Lord.
So your story has power, no matter what it looks like. Maybe you had a more spotless past. Maybe your past looked a little bit more rough. But regardless, people need to hear your story. Your story matters, and your testimony is something that someone out there needs. So don't be scared of sharing it. Don't be scared of being vulnerable. Don't be scared of being transparent, because it's through those things that ultimately people will be helped and God will be glorified.
Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. I'm at Amanda D. Pittman. He's at Michael J. Pittman. And we'll see you in our next video. Bye.
Love you. Bye-bye.